Oh, hey, just being clear, men have been selling sports memorabilia, their dirty shoes and their helmets and their jerseys and whatnot for as long as professional sports have existed. I'm not sure when the first recorded selling of, I don't know, women's articles of clothing or things pertaining to them, be it jewelry or in this case, for Belle Delphine, we're going to go with Bathwater. I'm not sure when the first recorded cases of that was, but I'm pretty sure that if Aphrodite herself could bottle her bathwater, people would have probably paid a king's ransom for it back in antiquity. So this is not about the ethics of celebrities selling memorabilia or the. I'm gonna unless Snopes tell me unless Snopes tells me that it's true, I'm gonna assume no one got hepatitis from Delphine's bathwater, who is a British Instagram celebrity that's currently banned for like breach of terms of service. But yeah, despite being incredibly amusing and having tons of traction on social media about, oh, hey, look at this grifter who's exploiting lonely young men, or on the other scenario, let's make fun of the basement dwelling incels or whatever the hell that dynamic is. That's not really interesting at this point. What's more interesting from a psychology, especially a social psychology point of view, is looking at the fundamental attribution error about what propels sort of this interaction to begin with. Like, why is this so synergetic where we have a Instagram influencer with sort of a viral push, despite not being really notably. It's pretty much a Vine artist. I don't know. I think, as far as I know, she performs in the bathtub with dead cephalopods. Yeah, there's squids involved and things like that. Uh, yeah, it's definitely weeb animu sort of thing. So, yeah, the posing with dead tentacle monsters is sort of for shock value. And I guess as would be selling bathwater and getting ill from it because there was dead seafood in it. Um, I wouldn't advise drinking anyone's bathwater. Um, I wouldn't advise drinking international water or whatnot. Yeah, but going back on topic, if we're looking at the interaction between content creator and the sort of weird parasocial thing happening, and like I just dropped, the fundamental attribution error, we can look at the fact that people with status often didn't do anything to get that status in the first place. Now, there's certain earned statuses, like, yeah, being a sports figure or being someone with great aptitude and things like that. And um, I don't know, being an artist. And we can appreciate people and their art for various different things. But yeah, as far as the influencer culture and things like that, I'm not going to shame people for modeling or being spokespersons. You know, if you're pretty and you're on camera and people pay you to speak about their product, yeah, it's some late capitalism hell, but at the same time, it's kind of like hate the game, not the player. Um, but as far as growing rapidly in a feedback loop where you're popular, so people pay attention to you because you're popular, so you then become more popular, and then you can uh, sell interviews on your Patreon for $2,500, and the only people buying the $2,500 Patreon interviews are other celebrities trying to elevate themselves by using the controversy to benefit themselves, and thus, raising your own $2,500 Patreon subscriptions. That gets pretty silly at a point, and it's just a meme kind of consuming itself. So I'm not even sure if there's much to it as far as I don't know how many people actually engaged with the product buying. Maybe it was 8, maybe it was 300. I would probably guess it was more towards the smaller number. And we wouldn't even know how many are doing it ironically or not, but we're not going to get into that game where we assume that everyone is doing something ironically. But we can't say that, oh, let's look at this book, a phenomenon called emotional amplification is an emotional reaction to events that almost didn't happen. And so missing the opportunity to interact with a meme like this probably propels people to engage with it, because that's just a missed opportunity. If you're missing out on something that's misattributed. So that might be a little bit four-dimensional chess, looking at something that's really basic, like the fundamental attribution error. But no, for real, this is a completely fabricated media scenario, completely created by the content creators and the media itself, to elevate a situation for the sensation of it rather than the merit of it, and elevating, Belle Delphine, who, no matter what her merits are, I think I watched one interview with a comedian, and yeah, she's like just totally normal as far as whatever like that, and has a sense of humor about all of this. But you know, the fact that the system itself feeds on itself, what is that, an Ouroboros? Yeah, you can correct me in the comments. And the fact that people cannot help themselves from jumping on the gravy train, it's just a ridiculous scenario, and I don't really see where it would ever have legs beyond sort of a flash in the pan meme. Um, yeah, Gamergate, this is not. People making uh, really hyperbolic pearl clutching about. This is another example about how women or the media exploit lonely young men. Yeah, this is not that scenario. Um, I don't, and that's pretty much a negative sex industry way to look at things in general. So even if that was the case, I don't think there would be an argument that would stand against her behavior or the setup of the industry itself. So yeah, go third wave feminism for that one. And when it comes down to it, I'm not saying that you can just turn the channel when it comes to meme culture, but I do think that applying our second psychological term, and the one that we're going to end with, applying, I don't know, the third. Yeah, applying the third psychological term, the just world hypothesis, that assuming that she wouldn't exist in a just world, that people wouldn't sell their bathwater. That's, yeah, then Tom Brady doesn't get to sell his jersey or donate it to charity or whatever the hell they do. Yeah, it's the exact same thing. So don't come at it with that noise. Specifically, come at it with more why the culture just gets in a gleeful froth about pink-haired teenager from England sells bathwater. That's more the interesting part of the conversation, not the actual bathwater itself, but why people really kind of get off on the story. And that's getting back into the snuff stuff that we did last week for sensationalism, back into getting shoe on head, railing against very minor examples of bad feminism. And yeah, so yeah, this why is more of a media studies thing than it is about the, I guess, individual failings of someone who doesn't even need to know better. And yeah, you do you, Belle. You go.